The conversation within the piece is really vital, I think, where you have the idea of complementary colors punching off each other, and then this slicing down the middle. There's a rhythm. It's a tough challenge when you're doing it to see, okay, what belongs. I remember sitting out on the porch at my house where I was in Toronto and deciding that architecture was not the thing, and it was going to be the painting, the conceptual paintings that were perhaps part of the process for architecture. And I knew that this is what I needed to do and not take architecture any further. Painting became as a sort of thing that was very instant gratification. And I was very interested in the idea of things that were open. And in architecture, that's very, very difficult to achieve. So as part of the process, you could create these paintings that end up being an elevation as passageways for how you navigate through. And then increasingly those ideas of voids, those are the spaces between that create that tension, create that dynamic energy that, if you relate it to people having conversations, that's where we get to hang out, right? It's definitely an intensity from being focused and really in the moment. I played hockey growing up, and that was probably my training until I was in my early 20s, was bringing that sort of energy, being in the zone and ready for it, and being there and set, to go and see what happens. Me against the canvas and figuring it out. So those relationships that you create is like inventing something new and putting something down that's engaging for me. And if I can apply a certain intensity to it, then hopefully it's something like that. If it leaves studio, then maybe other people will feel that sort of openness for interpretation or whatever they see. The whole philosophy comes back to providing opportunity, thus painting abstractly, opposed to giving direction to people to kind of look at something that is of an object. Instead of building the paintings up as layers, it's every mark is more important. So that I have much more time in between every sort of application, sort of each brushstroke, and there's much more of a direct conversation between the elements that are happening in the painting. So every brushstroke becomes more important. We now have a studio that's very much out in nature, so if you turn off the music, you're listening to just your own head. It's like you're being transported to another place. You force yourself after a bit of time, after warm-up, that language is turned off. If I get to share that with people, that's a pretty moving sort of situation.